Is your value determined by your significant other or by your friend group or by the people you have around you? Because if it is, I'm telling you right now, your valuation is wrong. We should never find value outside of ourselves. That is where it starts at the beginning. If you don't find value in you, if you aren't happy with you, if you don't wake up in the morning every single morning fired up for life, charged up, ready to go, passionate and purposeful, there's something you need to work on that no other human being is going to fix. There's an emptiness inside of you that having a significant other is not magically going to erase. Stop trying to find your value in other people if you have yet to find your value in you. And that took me to my second point. Finding value in you comes down to loving you. Do you love yourself? And one thing she said in that clip, I'm tired of doing it myself. Love, I'm tired. You should never be tired of doing it yourself. You should never be tired of loving yourself. And that goes back to the first point. If you can't love yourself, there is such a gaping emotional hole inside of you that no one is going to be able to ever love you. The reason she's sitting in her car crying about she can't find love is because she's never learned to love herself. She's never learned to say, I'm happy with what I see in the mirror. My life might not be where it is, but life is about who I'm becoming, not what I have. All I'm focusing on is what I have. So my life seems like shit, but wow, I've become a lot in 53 years. I might not have the significant other. I might not have the kids that everybody says you have to have, but at least I got something going on. And now you're seeing woman after woman after woman. Oh, I don't have the love. Nobody loves me. Why don't you love yourself? Maybe people would love you if you simply chose to love yourself. And I suppose that started me on another thought track. In order to love yourself, you have to heal. You have to look in that mirror and you have to say, where am I missing the mark? Where is that deep emotional hole inside of me? And for me, it was with my father. I didn't grow up with the best relationship with my dad. Close as can be with my mom, not very close with my dad. And when my dad passed away about a year ago, I realized how many grudges I had stuffed down, whether they little, whether they big, and then all of a sudden they come bubbling up to the surface. And all of that was spewing on other people and bullshit, and it was adding into the bullshit of my life and the daily monotony, and it was stacking on and piling on. And one day I said, whoa, maybe I need to do some healing. Maybe I need to look at this. Maybe it's not him. He's not even on this earth anymore, and I'm still blaming him for where I'm at. Wait a minute. Hold the front door. I need to do some healing. Have you worked on that big gaping hole? Have you fixed those emotions that you know you should, you know you could, you know you would, but you just keep doing it? Did you struggle with your anger? Here I am. Used to be me. I still slip up from time to time. Heal that. Maybe that's the exact reason why you can't get that relationship, because you keep flying off the handle and nobody wants to deal with that. You know, as I started thinking about all this stuff, I thought, why are relationships where they are? Why do I keep scrolling over and over and see another man or another woman bitching and moaning and complaining about this? Well, because it's hard to look in the mirror and do this shit every single day. It's hard to get up every single day and say, am I loving myself? It's hard to get up every single day and say, wait a minute, I got that big old emotional hole. I got to do some healing. Do I find my value in other people? It's hard. That's why people jump from job to job, relationship to relationship, friend group to friend group, because as soon as they have to change and become better, they say, nope, oh, I'm out. See you. I'm gone. I'm good. I'm the best version of me. I'm already the best. I don't need to improve. How about you start focusing on become the better version of you instead of already thinking that you are? And maybe, just maybe, you might get that right significant other. Maybe, just maybe, you might get that right job. Maybe, just maybe, you might get that right friend group. Or you might not. But at least you're happy with yourself. At least you're loving yourself. At least you're in the right spot. You might not be getting what you think you deserve out of life, but at least you're living a fulfilled life. And I choose the latter every single time. I don't find my value in people, places, or things. I find my value in me. And then those things slide on in. I don't chase, I attract. And that, my friends, is your key of the day. Have you looked in the mirror lately? What are you attracting into your life, baby? And that does it for my opening thoughts on your sharpening session. Swirl One, what you think, baby?
Oh, I was writing stuff down over here. DZ caught me in the middle of my. So I was doing it. I'll tell you. And the first thing that I would look is, you talked about finding your person. I haven't found my person. I don't know where they are. You know where they are? They're in the mirror. That's where they are. I'm just telling you right now. Do you know you? Have you found you? How do you expect to go find happiness in everybody else when you have no idea what brings you happiness because you haven't spent the time to sit with yourself and say, hey, what are my non-negotiables? What do I like? What don't I like? What am I actually looking for? If I were to draw out the perfect future, what would that look like? Now, we all could dream and hope and try to get the perfect future, and it's not always going to turn out the way you want it. Things happen on not your time, but when you're ready for it, when you've earned it, when you've actually leveled up to the point where you actually, here's the bottom line. Can't be a millionaire until you can be a good thousandaire. You got to level up to that point, right? You can't go any further until you've gotten across that one. Can't beat the game until you beat the level, right? So there you go. So first off, I always think about, hey, if you're going to get up every day and look in the mirror and you're like, man, you see people living for their significant others, living for their kids, all of that. Oh, I do everything for my kids. Well, what's the example you're setting for your wife, your kids, that kind of thing? Are you drinking your calories every day? Every time you turn around, you've got a Coke in your hand, or every time you go to a dinner, you got a beer in your hand. Is that the example you want to put out there? Is that what you want people to see? So when they see you, they're like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen. Or, hey, do you get up early? Do you get that water and get your body going? Maybe you exercise a little bit and your kids are like, man, my dad goes out a lot and he's always running around, the city. He's running around our block. Hey, it just adds to those habits. It gets people thinking all of a sudden, right? You start setting that example. And then all of a sudden your wife might do it. Shout out G. Lou and Mrs. G. Lou, right? Hey, when one starts to dive in, they're like, hey, that really looks good. Yesterday somebody said something about doing your workout and getting better. And they said, look, even my barber started working out. And it's because the barber was sitting there watching them get better on a daily basis as they were cutting their hair. And then after a while, they're like, hey, after I've been sitting here every day seeing you get better, I can't just not do nothing. I need to go to the gym. So now all of a sudden the barber starts going to the gym. That's kind of funny because as you set the example for the people around you, you become the beacon of light. You become the person that everybody looks and says, man, hey, if Swirl could do it, I could do it. If Capp could do it, I can do it, right? And that's a big one. People don't think of that. Now, here's the other thing. We were sold a dream. All of us. We were. Go to school, listen to what we're saying over here. Go get yourself a relationship, and then you'll be happy. Oh, if that don't make you happy, have some kids. Oh, that'll make you happy. Oh, make sure you get the big house too. That'll make you happy as well, with the picket fence and all those kind of things too. They don't ever tell you what really makes you happy. You know what that is? Love of self, knowledge of self, understanding who you are before you go out and say, hey, let me just go get a bunch of kids and figure out who I am later, right? That's never going to work. If you have a great example of who you are and you can portray that to the world, your wife is going to look like that. Your husband's going to look like that. Your kids are going to emulate that. You can see it with people's kids today. Look at certain kids that you see for famous people out there and look what they're doing. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. This is why Kendrick Lamar goes, you don't know nothing about that, right? So I'm just telling you, some people know exactly how to raise their kids because they are a beacon of light. They are the example. Here's the thing. How do you expect anybody to do something you want them to do? You don't even expect anything from yourself. You don't even do things you want to do. You would get up every day. You'll throw off a task because you know why? You are lazy. This morning I woke up and I even said yesterday as I was saying my prayers when I went to bed, hey, Lord, thank you for giving me the class of not lazy because you know what? Shout out to Team Not Lazy today. Got a whole bunch of things done. This morning I woke up and say, I'm going to wake up again. I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to get a ton of things done. You know what? That's the expectation I set for myself. So when I put that out to the world. Anybody that's around me, I'm going to expect them that they're not lazy either. I'm going to expect that. Why? Because if I can do it, so can you.